Sparkles and Shivs, it's the Con Mom Show. Stephanie
and Sarah. Hello everyone, welcome back to Con Moms. It's Sarah and
Stephanie.
And we are here to discuss all of the things that have happened. A lot has happened since our last episode, and we are here to talk about it. I know, like, everybody listens from everywhere, but we're both on the West Coast, and we're like, yeah, a lot of stuff has happened. And I feel like we should talk about it.
Yeah, there's been some developments, or at least in my con scene, of things that have come to life that just kind of had me thinking, specifically. And so just to kind of put a caveat and just sort of set expectations, we're going to be discussing abuse in the con scene, people taking advantage of other people in the con scene. I am going to be heavily avoiding specific areas, names, etc., and also heavy use of the word allegedly. And if you hear or see someone writing out allegedly, just to kind of make sure everybody's on the same page, allegedly is one of those words used to not say that, oh, well, this didn't happen, but that this has not been proven in a court of law. That's why you see it so much in news reports and things like that. When something hasn't been proven in a court of law, and you're going around throwing claims out all over the place, that's bad. You want to kind of give yourself some sort of step back legal protection against libel, slander, if in fact something did not happen or was not proven in the court of law. Those are two different things. So I'm going to be trying to, as much as possible, avoid being specific on gender, locations, etc., and names, as well as heavy use of allegedly, just so we're all on the same page here. So in my cosplay circle, there's been a couple things since our last recording where a convention that I have frequented in the past.
We both have.
We both have, yes. Yeah. Had on their guest list. That notification has been taken down since. There was a lot of strong reactions to it. One of their guest lists was a person who has allegedly had several counts of predatory misconduct to female coworkers as well as female congoers, including those underage. The announcement post has since been taken down for the convention and the guest, but it is unclear at this moment if that guest is still attending or not because they don't have any guest information. On a similar vein, there was in my larger con circle, this is not someone who I've ever dealt with personally. As far as I know, I've never met this person, but they originated from my convention cosplay circle, allegations of very serious instances of domestic abuse to their partner that they met in that was also in the cosplay con circle. So fun times and something to talk about.
Yeah. Because it's something that affects every facet of life, not just life outside of cons. Like, cons are an equally applicable place where these things can take place. So we wanted to talk about that today, and warning signs, things to do, and that if something ever happens to you, it's not your fault, and to not hold blame against yourself.
Yes, if you find yourself a victim of abuse is never justified. It is never okay. And, just because you didn't see the warning signs or you got duped by somebody doesn't make you a bad person. It doesn't mean you deserved it. the blame and ownership of that act belongs on the person who did it against you. So that if people take nothing else away from this episode, that's what I want people to take away. But yeah, I do think that it's really easy, and I have not in a super serious way, thank God, but I have fallen into the trap of, when you go to cons and conventions, you're meeting these like-minded people. There's already this air of familiarity that you're able to, and rapport that you're able to make with people who attend cons that can be really amazing. It's an automatic icebreaker. Everybody has shared interests when you're at a con. Maybe multiple shared interests depending on the fandom, or if two people are cosplayers, two people are collectors, what have you, photographers, what have you. It's really easy to form connections to people, and that is really, really awesome, and one thing that I absolutely love and treasure about cons. The danger there that it's also really easy to, in that space, let down your guard. And it more so than you would with random chit chat with somebody at the supermarket or in a movie theater, or someone that you just met in passing.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't think that predators can happen in cons because everything's so happy-go-lucky, but it's like a perfect breeding ground for that, because there's a lot of minors, a lot of people are very nonchalant, like I said, letting your guard down. It is a safety risk, and you always have to be aware no matter what situation you're in, things going on around you as well. But yeah, we wanted to discuss some of that today, so yeah. I know for me, like, even when it's not con related, I don't, like, if I'm out with people or I'm out by myself, because I do solo travel, I don't use my real name in social situations unless I know people. I really don't. And I always have a list because people are like, oh, where are you staying? Or are you visiting? Like, I have code words for stuff and reroute things because honestly, it's none of their business. Unless they're your personal friend, they have no need to know where you're staying. If you're alone, who's with you, all those details, like, just don't do it. So, because even, like, nerd predators aside, there's other things like human trafficking and other situations where people plant themselves in those situations, as with any other part of life, so you have to be careful.
There's so many facets of this too, because there's the obvious when we talk about abuse, like you were saying, the human trafficking, domestic abuse allegations, inappropriate behavior for adults towards minor allegations. There are power dynamics in cons and cosplay, just like there are with every other facet of the world. You have a guest versus, a regular convention goer. That is a power dynamic. You have a showrunner. That is a power dynamic. You have a volunteer at a booth and the person running the booth. That is a power dynamic. There's a lot of those in the convention world, just by nature of conventions are a business. And anytime you have adults and minors, it's also going to be a power dynamic. Power dynamics are not good or evil, they just are. But they are something that you need to be aware of because the wrong people will abuse those and try and take ownership of you. And especially for people who are young or impressionable, I see this a lot with young cosplayers who have dreams of being, the next Yaya Han or the next, big name cosplayer, and really want to, or not even maybe to Yaya Han's level, but to get to a point where they can be a professional cosplayer. And there are many, many people who will try and take advantage of that want. And that kid ranges from all sorts of, how they'll take advantage is a range. It's not always the obvious sexual nature of it that can manifest itself, but it also can manifest itself in other ways of control, saying, okay, I'm going to set myself up as your manager. You don't know this person, you don't know their managing capabilities, but they're starting to book things for you. They're starting to, to do things like that, you're not getting any contracts, but then they start to act possessive when you make your own decisions. I've had this happen to me. Now, I'll be really honest, I've never tried to make myself a professional cosplayer. At one point, my loftiest goal was to break even type deal on cosplay. That's not going to happen either. But that's fine. But I have had 2 instances since I started cosplaying of people getting very possessive and controlling. Things like who I was doing photography shoots with. There was one instance where I was at an event and leaving the event without notifying said person and doing other things ended up in a really scary blowout. That I have blocked this person on everything to this day as a result, and that is all the detail I will go into from there. But it all stemmed from I left a place without this person's permission. I have also had it happen where I was volunteering with someone who is doing, I don't really want to go into too much detail, but they were con adjacent, running things as part of con show boothing and con events. So they weren't a con showrunner, but they were, they were a presenter. And I was a volunteer. And I volunteered to do something with another con that they were not affiliated with or hadn't done things for. And that ended up with a very severe blowout about questioning my loyalty and all of this other very dramatic type attempt to pull a power dynamic over me. And ownership over where I go, and if I volunteer, because at this point, like, I was doing volunteer stuff for a free ticket to a con. That was all it was. I was making my own grown ass decision of volunteering to, do a little bit of a work at con for a ticket because con tickets gets expensive.
Definitely. Especially when you're younger, that's very attractive.
Yeah. It's very attractive, and it's also like, I like to experience new things, and working cons provides a little bit of that extra experience and that knowledge. But a lot of possessive things came out to the surface, and I'm very thankful that at that point in my life, I was grown and mature enough that I was able to look at that situation and go, that is somebody who is trying to control, exhibit control over me. In a way that I have not given permission or access to, that goes beyond, that is kind of, and has broken a trust. And I was very comfortable with going, okay, well, if then you don't want, if you're going to, I'm okay with letting this be a walk away moment. I'm okay with letting you decide that you're, unfortunately, I was sort of made an example of to other people as a bad egg or a bad example, and there was an attempt made to do that. But it was also one of those, like, that's not on me. That is not on me in the slightest. And, other people have since walked away from a similar situation and have kind of cited what happened with me as a example of, as a starting point of why, and I'm grateful for that. But yeah, there's a lot of people who will try and exhibit control over you, to be a manager, to be whatever, to help. And it'll start with saying, like, I want to help you reach your goals. I want to help you do this. You have complete control over your own life. If something doesn't feel right, if something feels shady, don't trust somebody just because they're older and have more experience. You need to see the fucking receipts. Sorry for the swear, but you need to actually see who they are and what they do in action outside of you. You need, if someone is wanting to enter a professional sort of relationship, then you need to, at that point, it is in your best interest to be a hiring manager to that person and to reverse the control as much as you can, because they need to earn your trust and your approval, not the other way around. Okay? Like that is, it's so critical, because I see this all the time,
Boundaries.
not just with me. Yeah, boundaries. Absolutely. Boundaries. Boundaries go into everything, at least in your whole life. I see this in cosplay too, where you have people getting a little too familiar boundary wise just because they follow you and they like all your posts. That does not invite anyone access or rights.
They don't own
Access
you. Even if you
to
have an
you.
OnlyFriends
Yep.
and they pay, they don't own you.
Yep.
So
Even
boundaries.
Yep. Even if you have a nice pay tree, they
That as
don't.
well.
Yep, that as well. They do not own you. You own you. And access to you in any capacity is a privilege, not a right.
Yes. I had to learn that because I did not know that as a small child.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I had to learn
I didn't
that.
either. Yeah. Absolutely. There's that, and there's also, like, unfortunately, it kind of sucks, but be very aware of who's in your inner circle and who's helping you give out vibe checks. A lot of abuse comes from people you know already. That's not me trying to be a dramatic, conspiracy theorist. That's just statistical reality.
It is, and for me, that was my experience. I had a circle growing up that some of them are great, and I still am with them to this day. But some of them were related to me, some were not, and even when I should have learned that, I didn't, because especially when people are related to you, they play the blood card. And it's hard, and they will slowly steal away your identity if you do not give boundaries and keep them. And like I said, that we went back to earlier, but if abuse happens to you, it's not your fault.
It's not.
Not placing blame on anyone, but we are trying to help, boundaries. Especially, a con example I can think of, because, I started going to cons, right when I first started college, was 18. But to me, still, now where I am, I feel like a baby. And I know some people go to cons even younger than that. If you are rooming with people you don't know, especially, honestly, minors should not be rooming with, my opinion, adults at all. No. Especially if you don't know them. Even if they're friends or a friend of a friend, just don't do it. It's not legal issues aside, drinking underage,
the only
all that
reason
stuff.
You should be
just don't do it.
Rooming with any adults is that you have an adult chaperone that is there with you staying in that room.
Yeah. Because I know, there are a lot of people, it's just a con thing to, go find roommates on the fly. And, if you're consenting adults, romantic or not, whatever. But, if you're a minor, do not stay with an adult. And if you're an adult, do not have minors in your room. If you're not related to them, just don't do it. So, and that's something I can think of, because, that's a power dynamic that's very dangerous. And
access to room and sleeping. Yeah.
Just don't. And even if you don't have ill intentions, it's just dangerous ground.
It is. It's
unethical. I think that would be an appropriate word for it.
Yeah, I would agree. I understand that sometimes, you're in a bind and you don't know what to do. And this is kind of the importance of having a trusted vibe check circle that you can go to, and really vetting those people. And it's also one of those, the best defense is really just being knowledgeable. I'm thankful that we live in this information age where, I am constantly seeing posts running across my feed about, these are signs to look out for gaslighting, which are great resources to read. And it's, I definitely recommend looking that up for people who aren't aware with the term, or if you are aware with the term but not the specifics of it. Gaslighting is a control tactic. Um, it is frequently done by abusers um, to control others around them and to sow discord and distrust. And it's really good to be aware of types of things so you can kind of look out for things like that and shut it down if you hear someone trying to talk to you and they're using things that you've looked up and that are kind of red flags. Just say, you know what, I'm not really comfortable with this conversation and I'm going to walk away.
Yes, and you always have
You
the
don't
right
need
to
to
say to walk away.
Yeah.
You always have the right.
Yeah, you don't need to get the last word.
Nope.
This isn't
You don't owe them the
debate.
last word.
The last word is also a privilege.
Yep.
Not a right. This isn't
Yep.
a debate club. You're not going to win or lose more points. You need to protect yourself first. Take care of you.
And honestly, if
and
someone's
be able
keeping
to-
track of points, like, ditch them real fast.
Oh yeah. Found that out the hard way.
Peace.
Ugh.
Bye.
If someone is coming to you and be like, I can't believe that you would betray me like this after X, Y, and Z I have done for you. Or we'll do I've seen this so many times, like, when so-and-so was talking about you, I've stood up for you when people were talking behind your back, and this is news to you. They bring up drama that you've never heard before to make themselves the hero. Red flag.
Having flashbacks, I'm like, oh.
Yeah, red flag. Like,
Yeah.
no.
And if someone doesn't want to ever hear your side of the story too, that is also a red flag. Especially if there's someone that's supposedly, like, there's one thing that's, like, obviously this doesn't make it right, but, like, if they're, like, someone you don't really know and they're just like, meh, and they run right, whatever. But, like, if it's someone that's supposedly in your inner circle and they don't want to hear what you have to say or to let you defend yourself, leave them in the dirt. And no apologies, run away. So, they are not worth it. And they are toxic.
Yeah,
even if you were wrong, then they don't want to hear you.
Yeah, your inner circle, your trusted vibe check crew, that you can talk openly with and be like, I don't know how I feel about this person or this situation. They need to be able to be open to listen. Yeah. That's the number one thing that you want from people around you, is to be open to listen, to be open to criticism, to be open to other, thoughts and things like that. I say this a lot, but the best judge of somebody's character to me is not if they mess up, but their response to messing up and messed up. Because we're all going to do it. We're all going to do behavior or say something out of anger or whatever that is hurtful or toxic or something like that. We have all done it. If you say you haven't done it, you're a liar. Or you're just completely unself-aware. So be open to, you hurt me in this way, and your trusted inner circle should also be open to that critique too, and just be like, this upset me and this is why. And good people will go, oh shit, I didn't realize that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we are all guilty of it. Trust me. I do things and I go back and especially if you're ever full of emotion, put the phone down. Come back to it. Don't be me. Don't reply right away, and then later you're like, oh no. I mean, yes, I might have felt it in the moment, but I should not have done that because now I'm going to regret it forever. Yes, Marie Kondo, your
Marie Kondo
rage.
Your emotions, Marie Kondo your relationships. And it's okay to take multiple examinations about does this bring me joy? What is, how do I feel around this person?
Yeah.
Is this person, kind of dictating how I do things? Is this person restricting who I see? That's another really big one. If they are restricting contact who you see, it's absolutely, because your trusted inner circle, your vibe check crew, those people that you really would trust with your life and vice versa. They are your biggest defense against abusers, and abusers know that. the best weapon an abuser has is to make you isolated and alone, be it on a long term or short term. Short term can be as simple as like, no, put your phone away. No, we don't have a charger here. You don't need to contact anyone. You're fine.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm having
And
flashbacks to
long
the
term
war.
is just yeah. Long term is just chipping away your relationships with other people, because your relationship with them is always number one, and that's it.
Yeah, and it's not a relationship at that point. You're like a possession.
Nope.
It's not a
Yep.
relationship. Don't like
Yep.
for me, like I said, mine like growing up were related by blood. So it was like a thing where it's like, oh, well, we're related, and so you don't need to do this. You don't need to go out. No, I'm not driving you there. No, you're not seeing these people. Like isolating is the first tactic. Like, yeah, it's a way for them to hide their stuff and treat you as a possession. So just look.
Yep. Isolating and making you doubt your own feelings. If you feel uncomfortable, you feel uncomfortable. And somebody should take that seriously.
Yeah.
You know, regardless of if it is rational or irrational or not. Like, you know, you don't help somebody who's having a panic attack by telling them they're being irrational.
Yeah, no.
They know, you know, like there is never anything good. Anybody who is trying to dismiss your feelings, regardless of what set them off, no.
Goodbye, never to return.
Goodbye, offer. And
Very
nobody
well.
is too cool for this. I don't care if they're a celebrity. I don't care if they are a cosplayer that you have admired for years and years and years. I don't care if they're the super cool photographer that you see their work and you're like, oh, if only I could get, work with them. It does not matter. Nobody is too cool for this.
Nobody.
And no matter how much you admire them, if you take your admiration out of the equation, because that is not helping you.
It's like being
That does
Star
not
Trek and
help your
admiration is
vibe.
like, yeah, take it out.
Mhm.
Because you'll find yourself making excuses if you use that filter, so.
Yep.
And if that's another thing, if you're making tons of excuses for a person, that is another red flag. Whether it's internally or externally to people, like, no, you should not have to make excuses for people. That's not okay.
Nope.
And their behavior.
It's not. It's no.
No.
It's not.
Yes, your con mom say no. Just don't do it.
Your con mom say no. Your con mom say no.
And if you ever, like, have doubt at a con, and if you go by yourself and you don't have anyone, always find, like, a con staff team member, or, like, even someone at the hotel if you ever feel uncomfortable and safe, because they can help find you resources and get you away from someone. There's always someone out there that will help you. So just don't ever be afraid to ask for help. And like you said, it's never your fault.
Yes, it's never your fault. And if you're, if you are at a con alone, and you have somebody that you trust that's not there with you physically, make sure that you have plenty of ways to contact them.
Yes.
And just give them temp checks throughout the day. Having someone that you can give check-ins with periodically is really helpful. Having someone that you can just bounce ideas off of, or, make sure that you're like, okay, so this happened, and, in the heat of a moment, it's really easy to get swept up and distracted, and we've all been there, no judgment. It happens to the best of us.
Yep.
But that's why it's always nice if you're able to have like a physical person with you, great, wonderful. If you're able to have a person in your pocket that you can message on Facebook, Instagram, text, whatever.
Your Polly Pocket.
That works. Yeah, your Polly Pocket buddy. That works too. Finding resources, finding, groups.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't generally advocate going to cons alone, but I know it happens.
I don't either, but some people do. Yeah. I go for I say that, but I go, but it's work related. But if I ever leave the con itself or the hotel and I'm by myself, I always turn on my location on Google and share it with the people that are knowing where I am. So even if they're not at the con with me, they can keep a track on where I am in case something ever happens. So I always share my location if I leave. I'm like, here's where I'm going. Because I don't know if everyone knows about that feature, but like Google literally, the person can click the link and watch you where you're going. Big Brother, maybe, but it's helpful. So
But sometimes
you need it,
know?
and it makes me feel safe, so I will use it.
Yeah. Yep.
Yes, we would like to close with saying we love you guys, and if you ever need anything, please reach out and always find someone at a con, or if you ever have any questions or have anything you want us to talk about, like feel free to reach out to us and message us. We will gladly discuss things. And we love you guys, and we hope you have a wonderful con season and keep these things in mind, because I know we are going to be getting more cons in the future. And I think next episode we'll talk about like what are cons going to be like, what do we think is going to happen, and all of that good stuff. But yes, we love you guys. We hope you have a wonderful evening, and thank you so much for listening, watching. Yes, bye.
Bye. Take care of yourselves.
Yes.